Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
The symptom screen, temperature check, maintain physical distance from each other, and again, I say this, the things that we love so much are going to be hard to do.
Some businesses that have been closed in Minnesota because of the pandemic will be allowed to reopen next week. The announcement was made today by Governor Tim Walz and comes at a time when COVID-19 cases are still mounting and some unemployed workers still haven't gotten their benefits. Valley News Team's Joshua Pagero looks into the governor's decision.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is rolling out phase 1 of reopening the state.
The areas that we know are going to be a challenge, congregate living centers and congregate businesses are making up the bulk of where we're at.
Governor Walz says industrial businesses that do not interact with customers, such as those in ag and wholesale, can reopen on Monday.
I wish I could even envision when we're going to be back in a crowded stadium, but that is at the end of the marathon.
These businesses must screen employees daily as they arrive, and there needs to be a COVID preparedness plan.
We're not requiring you to submit it to state government. We are not going to be reviewing these plans.
Several businesses in Minnesota did not close, like the one right behind me, where several employees tested positive for COVID-19, according to a letter we saw. But those businesses that did remain open have to come up with a plan for social distancing. According to this document, 4 people tested positive at the Pactiv plant in Moorhead. The company is asking employees to wash their hands regularly. James Smith says he returned to work last week at another plant in Minnesota.
Before we'd be working shoulder to shoulder, they've adjusted the volume of work that we're doing.
Smith says he spent 3 weeks unemployed and never got his unemployment benefits, which he's entitled to.
I literally cannot get a hold of somebody who will give me a name that I can direct this to that will handle the problem.
He says the state's unemployment office called him twice, saying they lost his paperwork. Getting someone on the phone also took him more than 2 hours. In Moorhead, Joshua Pagero, Valley News Live.
Governor Walz also says he expects up to 100,000 Minnesotans to return to work, but he's encouraging those who can work from home to do so. As for James Smits, we reached out to the state's unemployment office, haven't heard yet back from them. Fire significantly damaged a ground floor apartment and smoke spread to several others in North Fargo tonight. It happened at 2814 7th Street North. Firefighters not only battled flames and smoke, but they were kept busy rescuing several people in nearby apartments. We've learned that crews used multiple ladders to reach people on the 2nd and 3rd floors. Neighbors told us that one man jumped from a balcony above before fire crews could get to him.
It was unbelievable. I was shaking, I was screaming, I was mad, I was scared, oh my God, it was everything. I was so scared.
Red Cross was called to the scene. We've had no word on injuries or the full extent of damage. The driver of a motorcycle was killed tonight along a stretch of 12th Avenue North. Fargo investigators say that the man collided into the rear end of a semi-trailer. The crash happened late afternoon, and police closed the avenue from 41st Street North to 43rd Street North. The man's name is not being released until relatives are notified. The other driver was not injured. Another person in North Dakota has died from coronavirus, bringing the total in the state to 15. The latest was a woman in her 80s from Cass County with underlying health conditions. It's the second day in a row with a death from Cass County. On Wednesday, a man under the age of 40 with underlying health issues died. There are now 709 cases in the state of North Dakota. That's up 32 from yesterday. 18 people remain in the hospital. The death toll from COVID-19 in Minnesota is now at 200. A total of 2,942 people have now tested positive. The recovery rate is also going up, 1,536 people no longer needing isolation. Minnesota's summer resorts will be allowed to open this summer. Communal amenities are not allowed to be used except retail food stores, laundry facilities, and fish cleaning stations and docks, as long as they operate with sanitary and social distancing practices in place. Hospitality Minnesota says most resorts were waiting on the governor's recommendation before deciding whether to open this summer. If the governor's stay-at-home order stays in place into the summer months, the order discourages unnecessary travel and asks people to remain close to their homes. The governor says resorts do not have to open up if they are not comfortable with it. More than 700 people were tested for COVID-19 at the Alaris Center in Grand Forks today. The testing was originally only for employees of LM Wind Power or those close to them, as well as almost 400 employees from Grand Forks Simplot plant. However, health officials say that may not have happened.
We got word from Simplot late last night that they were not going to reach out to their employees and let them know.
Meanwhile, Simplot says that they are temporarily closed in an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19 and have not had any of their employees test positive. All 53 counties in North Dakota have authorized vote by mail for the June 9th primary, following strong encouragement from the governor. No polling locations will be open and every ballot will be issued through the mail. All voters will receive an application in the mail from the Secretary of State's office by May 11th. You will need to fill out the application and return it to your county auditor's office in a postage-paid envelope. Once your information is verified, a ballot will be sent to you. Fill it out and return it by mail or drop off the ballot at a drop-off location at the county auditor's office. Ballots will need to be returned by 4 p.m. on June 9th. The State Historical Society in North Dakota is asking for help to document the COVID-19 crisis. The agency is asking for digital stories, personal reflections, photos, and home videos to be donated to preserve for future generations. To learn more about this and more, submit your entry by visiting our VNL News app and click on this story. The Minnesota State High School League Board of Directors has canceled all activities for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year. After Governor Walz's announcement regarding schools earlier today, the Board of Directors announced that all state-sanctioned events for athletics and fine arts, including tryouts, competitions, and tournaments, will not be held. The North Dakota High School Activities Association has yet to cancel the remainder of its spring competitions. As the coronavirus continues to spread nationwide, several states are beginning the first phase of allowing some businesses to open. The White House guidelines recommend 2 weeks of downward trend in COVID cases before loosening restrictions, something not all states are following. Dan Scheneman reports.
In New York City, National Guard troops helping distribute thousands of meals to people sheltering in place as the nation grapples with how to balance reopening businesses with safety. Georgia is among several states easing restrictions despite not meeting federal guidelines for reopening.
I trust our people to do the right thing, to follow the guidance and open when they think it's appropriate.
The decision prompting disapproval from the White House.
I want them to open, and I want them to open as soon as possible, and I want the state to open. But I wasn't happy with Brian Kemp. I will tell you that right now.
In Oklahoma, where the state will also begin reopening Friday, there is caution among small business owners.
We're so excited to be open. At the same time, you got that in the back of your head, that fear.
In hard-hit Michigan, the governor says the stay-at-home order is working and lifting restrictions will come slowly.
We have work yet to do. We still are not out of the woods.
The South Dakota Smithfield meat processing plant will remain temporarily closed. A CDC inspection found that language barriers and a lack of social distancing led to an outbreak that sickened more than 1,000 people linked to the plant.
This is going to be a constant battle, and whether we have a big peak this week or that week, we're going to have lots of peak activities where we're going to be highly challenged.
The challenge now, finding the new normal while combating the deadly coronavirus. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
In the White House briefing this evening, President Donald Trump says more federal money is on the way to help American workers stay on payroll.